Hey, welcome to Starbound. I'm Daniel Pierce, and I'm going to be your narrator today. Nearly 500 supporters get early access to our stories. That's including Sunspire Academy and Frarian and Rimiki. If you'd like to unlock early access and support our new episodes and series, tap join below and become a Starbound member today. Now, let's get into today's story. Stars stretch like pulled taffy beyond the viewpoint, the universe's oldest optical illusion. Ambassador Natalie Hadrian rested her forehead against the transparent aluminum, her breath creating momentary fog patterns that expanded and contracted with each exhale. The bridge of the UES Harbinger hummed with pre-arrival activity, but she had carved out this quiet moment for herself before humanity officially stepped onto the galactic stage. Finding omens in the stars, Ambassador? Natalie didn't need to turn to recognize her husband's voice. Devin Hadrian moved with the quiet purpose that had first caught her attention during mission preparations 5 years ago. Where most military personnel she'd encountered strode with aggressive confidence or affected nonchalance, Devin simply arrived, as if the space between points hardly mattered. Just reminding myself how small we are, she said, finally turning to face him. 15 years of faster-than-light capability, and we're still the cosmic equivalent of toddlers taking our first steps into the unknown. Devin's smile flickered at the corner of his mouth. And yet, the council noticed us anyway. That's what concerns me. Natalie glanced at the datapad in Devin's hand. Another security drill? Final protocols of the diplomatic reception area. I've upgraded surveillance coverage in sections 12 through 16. Natalie laughed softly. The bathrooms, Devin? Really? Especially the bathrooms. His expression remained deadpan. You'd be surprised how many assassinations happen during nature's most vulnerable moments. I doubt the council invited us across 3 spiral arms just to kill us in the bathroom. Devin's hand rested briefly on her shoulder, his touch firm through the formal blue diplomatic uniform. That's why you're the diplomat, and I'm the paranoid security chief. He leaned closer, dropping his voice. Besides, being paranoid is how I keep my brilliant wife alive so she can dazzle the galaxy with her vision of human-alien cooperation. The ship's intercom chimed softly. Ambassador Hadrian, your team is assembled in Conference Room Alpha. Natalie straightened, adjusted her uniform. Time to rally the troops. Go inspire them, Devin said. I'll monitor from the back. Try not to promise we'll give away the solar system during your speech. She punched his arm lightly. Only half of it. We need to appear generous. Conference Room Alpha buzzed with voices 43 of Earth's brightest minds selected from every field and background imaginable. Physicists debated with linguists, anthropologists chatted with quantum engineers, and the families who had volunteered to accompany them added their own excitement to the mix. Several children darted between the adults, playing an impromptu game of tag before their parents could corral them. Natalie entered, and the room gradually quieted. In approximately 6 hours, she began, humanity will meet the Death World Council for the first time. I see both excitement and anxiety on your faces. Both are appropriate. She moved to the center of the room, deliberately stepping away from the podium. For decades, they've watched us from afar, our wars, our crisis management, our first stumbling steps beyond our solar system. And they've deemed us worthy of evaluation. A hand raised from the back. Dr. Kazuo Akita, their chief science officer. Ambassador, you keep using that word evaluation. The council communication used trial in 3 separate translations. Natalie nodded. Different linguistic conventions. Our analysts believe trial in their context means a formal assessment, not a judicial proceeding. Then why call themselves the Death World Council? This from Dr. Anaya Patel, their xenobiologist. It's not exactly the welcome committee. It's a categorical term, Natalie explained. Earth is classified as Death World. High gravity, intense radiation bands, aggressive biodiversity, extreme weather patterns. Species that evolve under such conditions apparently share certain traits the Council values. From the back of the room, Devin watched his wife work her magic. Where he saw potential threats, she saw connections waiting to be made. Where he planned for betrayal, she envisioned cooperation. He had spent 20 years in special forces expecting the worst from humanity. She had spent the same time in diplomatic corps believing in their best qualities. He swept his gaze across the room, cataloging forces, noting family groups, assessing potential vulnerabilities. These weren't soldiers. They were academics, scientists, specialists, brilliant minds, but utterly unprepared if things went sideways. His team of 12 security personnel was stretched thin, protecting them all. Our purpose, Natalie continued, is to showcase humanity's unique perspective. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us daily, yet developed art, music, philosophy, compassion. We're not just survivors. We're dreamers. That's our strength. The room erupted in applause. Devin smiled despite himself. If anyone could convince an assembly of advanced alien species that humans belonged among the stars, it was Natalie Hadrian. His comm unit vibrated against his wrist. A security alert, minor but worth checking. Hadrian, he murmured into the device. Chief, we're picking up unusual energy readings at our rendezvous coordinates, Lieutenant Rivera reported. Could be instrumentation error. Engineering's running diagnostics. Keep monitoring. I'll be on the bridge in 10. Devin caught Natalie's eye across the room and tapped his wrist. She nodded almost imperceptibly, continuing her address without missing a beat. 5 years of marriage had perfected their silent communication. Another reason they made such an effective team. As he slipped from the conference room, Devin heard his wife's voice rise with passion. When we meet the Council, we represent not just today's humanity, but every generation that struggled and sacrificed to get us here. We carry their hopes and dreams among the stars. Natalie? Devin's voice cut through the darkness of their quarters. The ship's night cycle had dimmed the lighting to a soft blue glow that outlined Natalie's silhouette as she sat at the viewport watching the stars. Did I wake you? She asked, not turning around. No. Devin crossed the room, his bare feet silent on the temperature-regulated floor. Those energy readings from earlier, they're not instrumentation errors. What are they, then? Unknown. They don't match any signature in our database. He sat beside her on the small cushioned bench. Whatever's out there, it's using technology we haven't encountered before. Natalie leaned against him, her head finding the familiar hollow of his shoulder. You know what scares me most? Not failure, not even death. Her voice dropped to a whisper. What terrifies me is succeeding. Opening doors humanity can never close again. Devin's arm tightened around her. That's why I'm here, to make sure those doors don't crush you when they swing open. My protector. She traced the scar that ran along his forearm. A souvenir from a peacekeeping mission gone wrong in Nigeria. But who protects you, Devin? I don't need protection. Everyone needs protection. Even the big, bad security chief. She turned to face him fully, taking his face between her hands. Promise me something. Anything. If things go wrong tomorrow, they won't. If they do, she insisted. Don't lose what makes you human. Don't become the weapon they trained you to be. Devon didn't answer immediately. His military career had specialized in turning him into exactly that, a precision weapon deployed in humanity's darkest corners. Meeting Natalie had given him a glimpse of another way to exist. "I promise to try," he said finally. She smiled, knowing it was the most honest answer he could give. "That's all I ask." They remained at the viewport, watching stars streak past, each lost in private thoughts about the day ahead. Captain Moira Tejada's voice crackled over the ship-wide comm. "All hands prepare for deceleration. Exiting FTL in 30 seconds. Devon stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back, watching the tactical display. The rendezvous coordinates the Council had provided placed them in a seemingly empty sector. No planets, no stations, nothing but the cold void of space. "Engineering reports FTL drive powering down normally," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the operations console. "All systems nominal." "Sensors?" Devon asked. "Still detecting those anomalous energy signatures, sir. Multiple sources, but we can't pinpoint locations." The familiar stomach-lurching sensation of FTL deceleration washed over the bridge crew as the stars outside transformed from streaks to pinpoints. The Harbinger shuddered slightly, then stabilized in normal space. "Arrival complete," announced the helm officer. "Position confirmed at provided coordinates." Captain Tejada turned to Devon. "Security assessment?" Before he could answer, the sensor officer called out, "Energy spike! Multiple signatures activating around us!" The tactical display suddenly bloomed with red dots materializing from nowhere, dozens of small craft dropping their stealth fields to reveal a carefully orchestrated ambush formation. "Shields up!" Tejada ordered. "Red alert!" Devon was already moving, grabbing the nearest comm unit. "Security teams to defensive positions. This is not a drill." His mind raced through the ship's layout, calculating Natalie's position. She would be heading in the diplomatic reception area to prepare for the arrival, the most exposed section of the ship. The first barrage hit before the shields fully engaged. The bridge lurched violently, consoles exploding in showers of sparks. Devon grabbed a bulkhead to stay upright as emergency lighting bathed everything in crimson. "Damage report?" Tejada shouted over the blaring alarms. "Shield generators damaged. Communications array offline. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Devon's security channel erupted with frantic reports of boarding parties breaching multiple sections simultaneously. This wasn't random. The attackers knew exactly where to hit them. "Captain," Devon said, his voice deadly calm. "These are Council forces." Tejada's face hardened as understanding dawned. "This isn't a diplomatic meeting. It's an ambush." "I need to find Ambassador Hadrian." Tejada nodded grimly. "Go. We'll hold the bridge." Devon grabbed a weapons locker, arming himself with a pulse rifle and sidearm. "Security teams, converge in the diplomatic reception area. Protect the civilians at all cost." As he sprinted from the bridge, the ship shuddered under another barrage. The lights flickered, and somewhere in the distance, he heard screaming. The corridor to Section 8 was littered with debris and bodies. Devon stepped over a fallen crew member, noting the cauterized wound that had nearly severed the man's torso. Energy weapons, advanced ones, far beyond Earth's current technology. Ahead, he heard the distinctive crack of human firearms exchanging fire with something that made a high-pitched whine. 2 of his security team had established a defensive position at a junction, holding off several boarders. "Chief!" Lieutenant Rivera spotted him, relief washing over her blood-spattered face. "They came out of nowhere!" Devon took cover beside them, peering around the corner. The attackers weren't human, that much was immediately clear. Their bodies seemed designed for combat, with reinforced exoskeletons and integrated weapon systems. But what struck Devon most was their methodical approach. No rage, no haste, just systematic execution of what appeared to be a well-rehearsed protocol. What are they? Rivera asked between shots. Council forces, Devon replied, firing a 3-round burst that caught one attacker in what might have been a shoulder joint. The creature staggered, but didn't fall. Devon checked his weapons charge. We need to reach the diplomatic reception area. Ambassador Hadrian was heading there with part of the team. The main route is cut off, said Corporal Diaz, the other security officer. We'd have to go through maintenance tunnels on Deck 6. Devon nodded. Cover me. They provided suppressing fire as Devon sprinted across the junction to the maintenance hatch. He punched in his override code and the panels slid open to reveal a cramped utility door. Rivera and Diaz followed, sealing the hatch behind them. The tunnels were narrow and dimly lit by emergency power. They moved as quickly as possible, oriented by Devon's mental map of the ship. Occasionally, the deck plates vibrated beneath them as the Harbinger took more hits. Why would they do this? Diaz whispered as they crawled through a particularly tight section. We came in peace. Peace may not mean the same thing to them. They emerged on Deck 5, 2 sections away from their destination. The corridor ahead was clear, but the metallic taste of burnt electronics and something else, something alien, hung in the air. Stay alert, Devon warned. They could be anywhere. They advanced cautiously, weapons ready. Through a shattered viewport, Devon caught a glimpse of the battle outside. The Harbinger's minimal defensive weapons were no match for the swarm of attack craft surrounding them. A noise up ahead, the soft whimper of someone in pain. Devon signaled Rivera and Diaz to cover him as he approached a half-collapsed doorway. Inside, he found Dr. Ikeda clutching his teenage son's body, rocking back and forth. They just shot him, Ikeda murmured, looking up at Devon with vacant eyes. He wasn't a threat. He was just a boy. Devon knelt beside him. Dr. Ikeda, where is Ambassador Hadrian? Reception area. They were all going there. Ikeda's voice cracked. My son just wanted to see... He just wanted to see the aliens. That's all he wanted. Devon placed his hand on Ikeda's shoulder, feeling utterly inadequate. Doctor, we need to move. It's not safe here. Does it matter? Ikeda asked, his gaze returning to his son's lifeless face. They're going to kill us all anyway. Not if I can help it, Devon said, helping Ikeda to his feet. Can you walk? Ikeda nodded numbly. Stay with Rivera and Diaz. They'll get you to a secure area. What about you, Chief? Rivera asked. I'm continuing to the reception area. Devon checked his weapon again, a habit ingrained by years of combat. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, get to the escape pods. Try to reach Earth Command. Sir, that's an order, Lieutenant. Devon didn't wait for a response. He moved down the corridor alone, each step bringing him closer to the reception area, and to Natalie. He refused to consider what he might find there. Focus on the mission, one foot in front of the other. The ship groaned around him, systems failing, life ebbing away with each new breach. It had taken humanity decades to build this vessel. Their pride and hope, wrapped in steel and technology, still new to their species. The Council was dismantling it in minutes. Voices ahead, alien voices, speaking in clicks and multi-tone syllables. Devon slowed, pressing himself against the wall. Through a gap in a partially destroyed bulkhead, he saw them. 3 aliens examining human bodies sprawled across the corridor. Their movements were clinical, almost scientific, as they prodded and scanned the dead. Devon aimed carefully, exhaled, and fired 3 precise shots. The aliens dropped without even turning toward the threat. No fear, no survival instinct, just mission focus until the moment of death. He stepped over their bodies, noticing the differences in their physiology. One had pale, almost translucent skin stretched over a frame evolved for low-gravity environments. Another boasted dense musculature, suggesting a high-pressure world origin. The third possessed respiratory adaptations for what must be a toxic atmosphere by human standards. The reception area doors were ahead, hanging off their tracks, the elegant sign welcoming the council delegation now riddled with weapon impacts. Devon steeled himself and entered. The scene inside turned his blood to ice. Bodies lay everywhere. Diplomatic staff, scientists, family members who had come to witness history. Among them, more aliens cataloging the dead with detached interest. And in the center of the room, sprawled beside the ceremonial meeting table, Earth had crafted from ancient redwood, lay Natalie. Devon killed the aliens before conscious thought had fully formed. One moment they were examining bodies, the next they joined the dead on the floor. He was at Natalie's side in an instant, cradling her head. "Devon," she whispered, blood bubbling at the corner of her mouth. A massive wound had opened her abdomen. The diplomatic uniform darkened with spreading crimson. You came. Always," he said, already knowing what his medical scanner would tell him. The wound was catastrophic, beyond the capabilities of their medical facilities, even if they hadn't been under attack. "Hold on, Nat. Just hold on." She smiled weakly. "Not this time, love." Her fingers found his, squeezing with fading strength. "The others? Most didn't make it," he admitted, seeing no point in lies now. "The council. This was their plan all along. I should have been more careful," she whispered, regret clouding her eyes. "Should have listened." She gripped his arm, her breath coming in shorter gasps. "Devon, remember Earth. Billions of lives. Whatever you do next." Devon felt something break inside him. Not his heart, but whatever remained of the man Natalie had helped him become. The soldier was resurging, cold and calculating, assessing threats and plotting responses. "I understand. Promise me." Her voice grew fainter. Remember why I loved you. Not just the weapon, but the man." Her hand touched his face, leaving a smear of blood on his cheek. "That's who needs to decide what happens next." Devon couldn't speak. The lump in his throat blocked all words as he watched the light fading from her eyes. The brilliant light that had guided him for 5 years. "I'll always find you in the stars," she whispered. "Look for me there." Her hand fell away from his face. Her chest rose once more, then stilled. The ambassador, who had dreamed of peaceful contact, was gone, murdered without provocation or explanation. Devon held her for several minutes, his mind emptying of everything but the weight of her body in his arms. Then he laid her gently on the floor, closed her eyes, and stood. He tapped his communicator. All surviving security personnel, report status. One by one, voices checked in. 7 of his original 12-person team. He ordered them to gather survivors and meet at emergency rendezvous point Beta. Then he moved methodically through the reception area, collecting weapons, checking for survivors, and memorizing the faces of the dead. Dr. Anaya Patel emerged from behind an overturned table, blood streaming from a cut above her eye.
Chief Adrian, what's happening? Why are they doing this?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. He handed her a sidearm. Can you use this? Patel stared at the weapon, then at the bodies around them.
I'm a xenobiologist, not a soldier.
You're both now. Everyone who survives is both. He checked the weapon's safety. Point and pull the trigger. Aim for center mass.
What's the plan?
She asked, clutching the weapon awkwardly. Devin glanced at Natalie's body one last time. We've finished the mission. The emergency gathering at rendezvous point Beta revealed the extent of the devastation. Of the original 184 crew and diplomatic personnel aboard the Harbinger, only 63 remained. Most were wounded. All were in shock. Captain Tejada had survived, though her left arm hung useless at her side, the shoulder a mass of burned tissue. Her wife, the ship's chief medical officer, had not been so fortunate. Killed in the initial attack while treating casualties in the medical bay.
Earth Command has been trying to contact us,
Tejada reported, her voice hoarse from smoke inhalation.
They detected the attack through long-range sensors. They've ordered us to abort the mission and return immediately.
Devin nodded absently, his focus on the tactical display showing the continued presence of Council vessels surrounding them. The attack had paused. Perhaps they had their fun.
Chief Hadrian?
Tejada continued, studying his face.
Devin, I know you're with us.
He looked up, meeting her gaze. I'm with you, Captain, but we're not going back to Earth. That's a direct order from Command. The Council invited us here to evaluate humanity. Devin's voice remained eerily calm. I intend to complete the evaluation on our terms.
Ambassador Hadrian
is dead. The words cut through the room like a blade, silencing the murmurs of the gathered survivors. Along with most of the team, their diplomatic approach failed before it began. Dr. Akeda stepped forward, his face haggard with grief.
What are you suggesting, Chief Hadrian?
The Council wants to know if we deserve a place in their society. Maybe they measure worth through survival. Devin activated a holographic display of the Council's coordinates. We're going to show them exactly what survival means.
That's suicide,
someone muttered. His gaze swept the room. I'm not ordering anyone to follow me. Those who want to take the escape pods can try for Earth. But I'm taking this ship to the Council. Captain Tejada studied him for a long moment.
And when we get there?
We show them what they've awakened. Devin turned back to the display. They expect us to run, to beg for mercy, or to die fighting their test. They don't expect us to bring the fight directly to them. A strange quiet settled over the gathering. These weren't soldiers. They were scientists, engineers, diplomats. But each had lost someone in the attack. Each now understood what the Council's evaluation truly meant.
The FTL drive is damaged but functional,
reported Chief Engineer Roberto.
We can make one jump if we bypass the safety protocols. The weapon systems are mostly destroyed,
added Lieutenant Rivera.
We have minimal defensive capabilities.
Devin nodded. We'll need to repurpose what we have.
Dr. Ikeda stepped forward, his eyes hollow but determined. The Q-com array in the diplomatic section. It was designed to transmit massive data packages instantaneously across vast distances. With modifications, it could interface with the FTL drive. To what end? Tejada asked. To turn this ship into a weapon, Devon replied, understanding immediately. One last jump, directly into the heart of the Council station. The room fell silent again as the implications sank in. That would kill us all, Dr. Patel said quietly. Yes. Devon didn't soften the truth. Captain Tejada straightened, wincing at the pain from her injured shoulder. I can't order anyone to stay for this mission. Those who wish to attempt evacuation, report to the escape pod bays in 1 hour. Those who stay will make history, one way or another. As the survivors dispersed to consider their choices, Devon returned to the tactical display. The Council vessels maintained their position, watching, waiting, perhaps already composing their evaluation of humanity's performance. They have no idea what's coming, he murmured to himself. In his mind's eye, he saw Natalie's face, not as she had been at the end, but as she had been that morning, full of hope and purpose. He had promised to try to remain human, to not become the weapon his training had forged. But what was more human than vengeance for those you loved? The stars beyond the viewport seemed colder now, the darkness deeper. 1 hour later, Devon stood on the damaged bridge as Captain Tejada addressed the remaining crew. 29 had chosen to stay, less than half of the survivors, but enough for what needed to be done. Our mission has changed, Tejada announced, her voice steady despite her injuries. We came to represent humanity's aspirations. Now, we represent its resolve. Each of you has lost someone today. Each of you has chosen to stay, despite knowing this is likely a one-way journey. Devon scanned the faces around him. Dr. Ikeda stood with the engineering team, his scientific brilliance now focused on turning the quantum communication array into a weapon. Lieutenant Rivera and what remained of the security team checked weapons and secured sensitive areas of the ship. Dr. Patel and other specialists from the diplomatic team monitored Council communications, searching for any information about their destination. Chief Hadrian will outline our approach, Tejada continued, yielding the floor. Devon stepped forward, bringing up a holographic display of the Council's coordinates. The Council station appears to be here, a massive structure likely housing representatives from hundreds of species. Our damaged sensors can't get clear readings, but it's safe to assume heavy defenses and sophisticated detection systems. How do we approach without being destroyed immediately? Asked Roberto. We don't try to hide, Devon replied. We arrive exactly as they expect, a damaged vessel limping along after failing their test. And then? Patel's fingers tightened around the sidearm she now wore constantly. And then, we show them what humanity does when pushed too far. Devon expanded the display to show the modified systems Ikeda's team was implementing. The quantum array, once connected to the FTL drive, will create a localized space-time rupture when activated within the station's gravity well. In simple terms, it will tear apart the fabric of space in a controlled area, destroying all Council chambers, Tejada continued. And us with it, added Ikeda, his voice hollow. The rupture will consume the Harbinger in the process. Devon nodded, not sugarcoating reality. This isn't about survival anymore. It's about sending a message to whatever remains of the Council afterward. Humanity isn't just another test subject to be evaluated and discarded. The bridge fell silent as each person contemplated what lay ahead. Then Lieutenant Rivera spoke up from her station. Sir, we're receiving transmission from Earth Command. They've detected our change in course. Put it through, Tejada ordered. Admiral Daisy Hyde's face appeared on the main screen, lined with concern and barely contained fury.
Captain Tejada, your vessel has deviated from ordered return trajectory. Explain yourself immediately.
Admiral, Tejada replied formally. We have assessed the situation in determining that a direct response to the Council is necessary. This is not your decision to make, Captain. The Diplomatic Corps is preparing an official protest through alternative channels. Your orders are to return to Earth space immediately.
Devon stepped into view. With respect, Admiral, diplomatic protest won't matter to the Council. They murdered our diplomats. They slaughtered civilians. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was standard protocol for evaluating new species.
Chief Hadrian, I understand you suffered personal losses, but this response could trigger an interstellar war that Earth is not prepared to fight.
They already declared war, Admiral. We're just acknowledging it. Hyde leaned closer to the screen.
Devon, listen to me. We cannot lose humanity while trying to prove our worth. What you're planning crosses a line we may never be able to uncross. Billions of lives are at stake.
Devon thought of Natalie, of her final plea that he remember what made him human. But what was more human than fighting to protect your own? What was more human than ensuring that those who died were not forgotten?
Like I said, the line has already been crossed. We're simply responding in kind.
I am ordering you to abort this mission, Chief Hadrian. Captain Tejada, resume course for Earth immediately. Tejada looked at Devon, then back at the screen.
I'm sorry, Admiral. We've made our decision.
Devon reached over and terminated the communication. The bridge crew stared at him, awaiting direction.
Set course for the Council station, he ordered. Maximum sustainable speed.
As the Harbinger limped toward the final destination, Devon retreated to his quarters. The space he had shared with Natalie. Everything remained as they had left it that morning. Her diplomatic notes scattered across the desk, her favorite sweater draped over a chair, her scent still lingering in the air. He sat on the edge of the bed, allowing himself one moment of doubt. Was he honoring Natalie's memory, or betraying everything she had stood for? He was about to commit an act that would echo across the galaxy for generations. His gaze fell on a small holographic projector on the nightstand. He activated it, and Natalie's image appeared. A recording from their wedding day. She laughed, her eyes bright with joy, as she pulled him into the frame.
To the stars and beyond,
her recorded voice said, raising a glass and toast.
Together.
Devon closed his eyes, the image burning into his memory.
I'm sorry, Nat,
he whispered to the empty room.
This isn't what you wanted, but it's what they've earned.
He deactivated the projector and returned to the bridge. His resolve hardened. The weapon would be ready within hours. The Council awaited. The Council station loomed before them, a sprawling structure that dwarfed the Harbinger. Its architecture blended organic and technological elements in ways human engineers had never imagined. Sweeping curves intersected with precise geometric patterns, all illuminated by lights that pulsed in rhythms, suggesting artificial synapses at work.
They're helling us,
reported Lieutenant Rivera, surprise evident in her voice.
Put it through,
Tejada ordered. The main screen activated to show an alien face, vaguely reptilian features arranged in what might have been a welcoming expression. When it spoke, the ship's translation system converted its complex vocalizations to English.
Harbinger of Earth, we congratulate you on completing your preliminary evaluation.
Your vessel has been cleared to dock at Reception Bay 42. Prepare for celebratory ceremonies.
Devon stepped forward. Celebratory ceremonies? You attacked our ship without warning. You murdered our diplomats, our scientists, our families. The alien's expression shifted subtly.
Yes, the evaluation protocol was successfully implemented. Your species demonstrated remarkable resilience. Survival rate exceeds the average for Death World species. This is cause for recognition.
The bridge crew exchanged glances of disbelief and disgust. To the Council, the slaughter had been merely statistical, a routine procedure with acceptable outcomes. "We will dock as instructed," Devon replied, his voice carefully controlled. "Our surviving diplomatic team is eager to meet the Council in person." The alien inclined its head.
Excellent. The 12 Elders await your arrival. Welcome to Galactic Society, humans of Earth.
As the transmission ended, Captain Tejada turned to Devon. "They genuinely don't understand what they've done, do they?"
No, Devon replied, and that's why our response is necessary. Dr. Ikeda, status of the quantum array modifications.
Ikeda looked up from his workstation.
"Complete. The system is linked to the FTL drive and can be activated remotely from your communicator. Once triggered, we'll have approximately 60 seconds before the rupture begins."
Enough time to ensure we're in the right position, Devon noted. Captain, please dock the ship as instructed. Lieutenant Rivera, prepare security teams to disembark. We proceed as planned.
As the Harbinger approached its designated dock, Devon addressed the crew one final time.
What we do today isn't just for those we lost. It's for Earth, for humanity's future among the stars. The Council needs to understand that we aren't simply test subjects to be evaluated and discarded.
The ship shuddered slightly as docking. Clamps engaged. On the external cameras, they could see elaborate welcoming parties assembling. Diverse alien species in ceremonial attire, musicians with unfamiliar instruments, even what appeared to be honor guards bearing flags representing hundreds of worlds.
"They're throwing us a parade for surviving their massacre,"
Rivera said bitterly.
"Keep your weapons concealed until we reach the council chamber," Devon instructed. "Follow the security plan exactly. No deviations."
As the airlock cycled open, Devon thought again of Natalie, of what she would think of what he was about to do. Would she understand? Would she forgive him for answering diplomacy with devastation? The welcoming committee greeted them with genuine warmth, seemingly oblivious to the humans' barely contained rage. Alien dignitaries praised their resilience, congratulated them on passing the simple evaluation, and guided them through elaborately decorated corridors toward the central council chamber. Devon absorbed every detail of the station's layout, noting security checkpoints, control systems, and potential weaknesses. The aliens had no reason to hide these things. In their minds, the humans had proven worthy through survival and were now honored guests. The Grand Council chamber itself was a vast semicircular space dominated by 12 ornate seats arranged on a raised dais. Representatives from what must have been every species in the Alliance filled observation galleries along the walls. The atmosphere was celebratory, even festive. The 12 elders, representatives of the founding species of the Council, took their places as the human delegation was led to the center of the chamber. Devon recognized several of the species from the attack on the Harbinger. These weren't just administrative leaders. They were the architects of the evaluation that had slaughtered his people.
"Humans of Earth," announced the Central Elder, a being with sparkling scales.
You stand before the Death World Council as the newest candidates for your inclusion in our galactic community. Your species has demonstrated the necessary resilience to survive among the stars. We welcome you.
Silence fell across the chamber as all eyes turned to the human delegation. This was the moment for their formal acceptance, for diplomatic pleasantries and the beginning of interstellar relations. Devon stepped forward alone. He stood motionless for a long moment, surveying the assembled council. When he finally spoke, his voice carried throughout the chamber. "Do you know how many of us you killed?" The question hung in the air, unexpected and disruptive to the ceremonial atmosphere. The elder who had spoken tilted his head in confusion.
The evaluation protocol resulted in typical casualty rates for Death World species. This is necessary to confirm survival adaptability.
121 people, Devon continued as if the elder hadn't spoken. Scientists, diplomats, families, children. He took another step forward. My wife. Murmurs spread through the chamber as the council members tried to process this unexpected response. The elder raised a limb for silence.
Death during evaluation is regrettable but necessary. All species present have undergone similar trials. It is the foundation of all society. Only those who can survive deserve to join.
And those who inflict such trials? Devon asked quietly. What do they deserve? Before the elder could respond, Devon gave a subtle signal. Throughout the chamber, members of the team simultaneously moved against their assigned targets. Concealed weapons emerged, striking with precision at key security positions and control systems. Devon himself launched directly at the elder's dais, killing 3 of the seated council members before their guards could react. The ceremonial chamber erupted in chaos as blood of various colors splashed across the ornate floor.
What is the meaning of this?
Demanded the central elder, retreating from the sudden violence.
You have passed evaluation. This behavior is incomprehensible.
Devon grabbed the elder by his throat, bringing their faces close together. This is our response to your fucking evaluation. Throughout the station, alarms blared as security forces mobilized to contain the human attackers. Devon's team fought with ferocious efficiency, each carrying the grief of lost loved ones into their assigned missions. They were hopelessly outnumbered, but that had never been the point. As station security finally began to gain the upper hand, Devon and his core team fought their way to their primary objective, the central power core. The quantum array needed to be precisely positioned for maximum effect. 2 minutes until security breaches our position, reported Rivera, firing the pursuing forces. Devon activated his communicator. Harbinger, confirm reception of targeting coordinates. Coordinates received and locked, responded the ship's AI. FTL drive spooling, safety protocols disengaged as ordered. The remaining elders, having regrouped in secure area of the chamber, appeared on a communication screen before Devon. Their composure had vanished, replaced by what might have been their species' version of shock.
Human,
The central elder addressed him.
you cannot possibly believe this attack will succeed. Your numbers are insufficient, your technology inferior. This demonstration, while impressive, changes nothing.
Devon smiled coldly. This isn't a demonstration. It's a lesson. He activated the final sequence on his communicator. Alarms blared throughout the station as the Harbinger disengaged from its docking clamp. Its damaged FTL drive activating within the station's gravity well. The Council's monitoring systems registered the distortion immediately, triggering emergency protocols too late to matter.
What have you done?
The elder demanded, genuine fear finally breaking through its composed exterior. What I needed to do, Devon replied. The Harbinger accelerated directly toward the central council chamber. its FTL field creating space-time distortions that tore through the station's shields like tissue paper. In the final moments before impact, Devon closed his eyes. He saw not the council chamber, not the aliens staring in horror at approaching destruction, not even the comrades who had chosen to die alongside him. Instead, he saw Natalie, her smile on their wedding day, her passion as they spoke of humanity's future among the stars, her gentle touch when she reminded him of his humanity. "I'll find you there," he whispered as the quantum array triggered, collapsing the FTL field at the moment of impact. Space itself seemed to fold inward as the rupture began, consuming the council chamber in expanding rings of blindingly white energy. The last thing the gathered representatives of 1,000 worlds witnessed was the face of a human who had loved, lost, and chosen retribution over survival. 2 years later, a new Earth vessel approached the reformed council station. The UES Reconciliation carried a different kind of delegation, one prepared for the changed reality of humans' position in galactic society. The council that greeted them bore little resemblance to its predecessor. Species who had long questioned the evaluation protocols now led a reformed government, one that had abandoned the trials by combat that had defined their society for millennia. The Hadrian Incident, as it was now known throughout the galaxy, had forced a fundamental reassessment of the most basic assumptions. Ambassador Hyde stood at the viewport, watching the new station grow larger. Beside her rested a memorial containing the names of the Harbinger's crew and diplomatic team, with Natalie and Devon Hadrian's names at the top. "They're ready to receive us, Ambassador," her aide reported. Hyde nodded, lifting the case containing Natalie Hadrian's original diplomatic proposals, recovered from the Harbinger's transmitted backup data. "Let's not keep them waiting." As she walked toward the airlock, Hyde reflected on the terrible price of this moment. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through Natalie's vision of peaceful cooperation, but through Devon's demonstration of terrible consequence. Both approaches had been necessary in their way. The new council representatives awaited with solemn respect rather than celebratory ceremony they had prepared for the Harbinger. They had learned a lesson written in blood and fire. Humanity's capacity for diplomacy was matched only by its capacity for vengeance when pushed too far. "We come seeking understanding," Hyde began, placing the memorial prominently before her. "Not just for ourselves, but for those who cannot be here today." The lead council representative, a member of a species that had long advocated for reform, inclined its head. "And we receive you not as subjects to be tested, but as equals with whom we must learn to coexist." It gestured to the memorial. "Their sacrifice has changed us all." As formal introductions began, Hyde glanced out the viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere among them, she imagined, Natalie and Devon Hadrian watched this moment unfold. The diplomat and the protector, finally united in achieving what neither could have accomplished alone. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage not just as survivors of a death world, but as a species that demanded respect. Not through superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but through the terrible clarity of their response when those they loved were threatened. It was not the entrance Natalie had envisioned, but as humanity took its place among the stars, her dream of cooperation would now unfold in a galaxy forever changed by Devon's final lesson. Underestimate human bonds at your own peril.